Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we'd like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. So, here we are, 11 days out from the presidential election. And I cannot tell you how thrilled I am about that. It's kind of like that movie, the title of that movie, Everywhere, All Together, All at Once. It's everywhere. It's overflowing to every aspect of our life. I'm exhausted. I'm burnout and I'm ready for it to be over. So, 11 days, here we are. Let's get out and vote. Early voting has started in many states. It's already turned out record numbers, which is fantastic. So, let's get out there and vote, everyone. The two candidates are out on the trail. They're everywhere. Late night, daytime, podcast, radio, you name it. They're there. And Harris actually had a large campaign stop in Atlanta yesterday, and she had a huge turnout with celebrities. I mean, she had Obama, she had Bruce Springfield, Tyler Perry, Spike Lee, and many more. And that's great. Huge turnout. So, final stretch, and please get out and vote. And it was really interesting. I don't know if you saw Saturday Night Live this past week, but they had a great opening skit. It was a spoof off of the interview that Harris did on Fox with, was it Brett Baer? And Alec Baldwin was the Fox anchor and the interviewer. And of course, Maya Rudolph, it was the best at playing Harris. And so she was Harris, and they just did a great opening skit as a parody off the interview of Fox. Fantastic, because he just kept interrupting her the whole time. So it was that. It was so good and funny. So if you had a second, go back and watch that. Doesn't matter which side you're on, it's still funny. And both of those guys are great. Both, I should say, Baldwin and Rudolph. They are fantastic at sketch comedy. Now, let's move over into the world of sports. There was a freak accident and tragedy that happened to the surfing world. Italian surfer Giulia Manfrini, who was 36 years old, was surfing in a hot surfer spot in the Menitawani Islands. Menitawani, I want to make sure I say that correct. Islands in Indonesia. And when she was surfing, such a freak accent, she was surfing and a swordfish jumped out of the water and impaled her in the chest, and she ended up succumbing to the injuries and passed away. I mean, gosh, what a freak and terrible accident. When I heard this story, I immediately thought of the Steve Irwin story with the Stingray years ago. Odd story, freakish, and just terrible. She was so young at the height of her career. Unfortunate. So, of course, our hearts go out to friends, family, and loved ones. In the country of Italy, they just loved her. Italy actually released a statement just saying what an extreme loss and odd tragedy. So we are so sorry there. And another Giulia who is in the news in the sports industry and who is adorable, 108-year-old runner, Julia Hawkins, passed away this past week. I don't know if you were able to see some of the stories with her. She was adorable, cute, and absolutely inspirational. She started running at the age of 100. She said it's never too old to start. And she would do the races every year and just sweep it. And at 108, we just lost sweet Julia, and she passed away with loved ones in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What a sweet story. You need to go see a little video of her. She is so cute, and just fantastic. And she's right. As a runner myself, it's never too late to start and enjoy the love of the run. It's great. Get those endorphins going. And also another story, and this necessarily isn't sports, but it's along the centenarian lines. And we actually, the U.S. just lost its super centenarian, and her name was Elizabeth Francis. You got to see a video of this woman. She is, oh my God, adorable. Elizabeth Francis was 115 years old. She passed away in Texas this week with loved ones and family. I was watching videos of her when I was reading the story, and you've got to see her. The last few clips that I could see was of her on her 111th birthday. And she adorable. She had a crown on. She was adorned in pearls and surrounded by friends and loved ones. And she was giving advice of what it was to live this long and how you should do it. And I have to say, what she said is, speak your mind, don't hold your tongue. And out of all the things she said, that was my favorite. And she's right. Say it. Get it out. Say it. Don't hold it in. Say it. So speak your mind. Don't hold your tongue. That is the best advice from Miss Elizabeth Francis of 115. And she was originally born in Louisiana, but she spent most of her life in Texas. So maybe there's something to be said. Don't mess with Texas. And very sweet story, sad ending, but we were so lucky to have both Elizabeth Francis and Miss Julia Hawkins inspiration to everyone. So cute. Now, let's get over to a little bit of our love of documentaries, TV, reality TV, you name it. Let's get into our guilty pleasure of our mindless TV. Yes. So I have to say, I am a little bit hooked on the show, The Real Hatfields and McCoys, Forever Feuding. And I'm very excited to let you know, I found one of the producers of the show, and I'm going to be interviewing him. And I'm a little bit of a fan. And so I got to tamp down my excitement, but it's great. I'm a girl of West Virginia. There's something that I adore about this show. It's very comforting to me. I find the families lovely and sweet, and how protective they are of their family history, and just, their family story, which is a great American story. It really is. And a story of family that's just gone through for the generations, but they're survived. And and how they've become business and made the business out of the American tale. I find everything fascinating about it. I do adore the two families. The bulldog in the story in this whole show is just the cutest thing I've ever seen. But the families are great. And I love it. And it is the heart of America. And anything Appalachia is very true to my heart, so I support it, and I want to try the moonshine, no doubt about it. So next time in the southern part of West Virginia, I will be stopping through, okay? So Real Hatfield and McCoy's families, I think you're great, and one day I will be there to test the moonshine and to meet you all, and trust me, my West Virginia twang will come right back immediately, because this is how it is. Now, the Real Hatfield, so make a big, hard turn from the Hatfields and McCoys. Let me just add one more note about the Hatfield and McCoys. There is the author of a book on there, of the Hatfield and McCoys, A Feud, and his name is Dean King. Dean King, absolutely adore you. I love your work now. I've been looking it up, and I am a huge fan. So Dean King, one day I'm going to find you and I hope to interview you, because first of all, I'm a history fanatic, a little bit of a history geek, I must say, because I really, really go down the history hole quickly, because I just love it. History is the foundation of this country, and we must learn everything about history. So that's a little bit of history tangent. But Dean King, I love you, and I think you're great. You're fantastic, and I'm going to find you so I can interview. I love your book. All right, now, hard shift from Hatfield and McCoy's. Let's go down to the Bravo universe. I mean, that's a hard turn, right? So now, I'm going to just kind of skim through a couple of the shows, because I really, really, really want to get to Salt Lake City. This week was huge for Salt Lake City. So let's skim over. My girls in Potomac. I'm a Mid-Atlantic girl, and I love Potomac. I do. Giselle. During this episode, Giselle was getting her twins ready for the prom, and they're seniors. This is the final year for her. And so you saw her getting ready, the girls getting ready for prom, and her preparing that. And of course, as she's talking in her confessionals, she's preparing herself for them leaving the home. They're going to restart their lives as young adults and go off to school. And she's preparing herself to be an empty nester. And I really feel for her in those scenes. It's, All of them are going. We've seen a lot of the moms on a lot of the other shows prepare it for, but we've seen Giselle's girls grow up, for 9 seasons. And they're leaving, and we already saw her first one go a year ago, and now the twins. So it's bittersweet, and but it was a really sweet family moment. Their dad Jamal came up from Atlanta to see him go off, which is sweet. And it was a really sweet family moment. And Giselle, girl, I feel for you, Mama Giselle. Karen is still in some major denial. And it's a little entertaining to watch. I mean, that girl can deflect. I mean, she should really teach a master class on deflection. She is the grande dame of it for sure. The new girls, there's a lot going on with the new girls, but what is the new girl and Stacy, who's the QVC girl? She's going through the divorce. She is back in Potomac in the DC area. But we get to see a little bit more of the guy she's dating, TJ. And this is a personal opinion. He is giving me very much TJ Holmes vibe. The TJ Holmes, Amy Robach from ABC vibes. Like, look, I don't know what her marriage stood before this split. It is not my place to judge what goes on in somebody's relationship or in their home. Not my place to judge. I don't know where her relationship was with her ex, but the timeline seems interesting. They split a year ago and they started kind of hanging out around. The timeline's a little interesting with this new guy. But we get to see a little bit of him, and you see the whole workout scene with him, TJ, and Stacy. And in my personal opinion, it's odd. It's very odd. She's obviously really into him. Maybe he's into her, but it doesn't seem like he's into her as much as she is into him. And of course, he's holding out on intimacy because he's very Christian. But you hear a little bit of that story. The producers or whomever who's behind the camera is asking Stacy in her confessional, has he been intimate with other women? She's like, oh yeah, he's been intimate with other women, but he just doesn't want to be intimate with someone that's not his wife. And bing, flags went up to me because I'm like, well, first of all, how many times have we been married then? Right? Interesting. And has he been intimate with these people in the past before marriage? Is this a new rule that he's now implementing now that you're here? I have many, many questions. And then he starts throwing out all this religious stuff with her. I don't know. This guy's giving me a little bit of ick and a little bit of he's getting the side eye from me. That's all I'm saying. But her daughter is absolutely adorable. Stacy seems, I am waiting for the good girl cover to crack. And I think at the end of this episode, we start to see it a little bit. Ashley's figuring it out. She's figuring out her position with the friends. She's figuring out a single life as a mom. So it should be, I'm kind of interested in seeing how Ashley's journey is going this season. She's still messy Ashley, and that's why she still has a job. So I kind of like this season a little bit better. I don't want to hear all about the divorce. I don't want to hear about all the kids anymore. Nothing personal about the kids. Your kids are adorable, but that's not what I'm tuning in for. So let's get on the track, Ashley. I'm ready to go. Who else am I missing? I'm so glad Robin's not there anymore. I'm enjoying Wendy this season. I am. I kind of like that her and Giselle, they've squashed the beef for now, and they seem to be getting along. And you keep hearing Giselle say, I've really enjoyed Wendy. I think we're going to be besties. And then you hear Wendy kind of being a little bit, cat with the string saying, we're getting there. So I just think they're really cute. I really hope it continues. We need a little bit more togetherness and girl power on the show, because there's a lot of and all these shows, there's a lot of mayhem. There's a lot of fighting. And, if anybody can bring a little bit of classiness to cattiness, it's definitely the Potomac girls. That's for sure. Because you got the Grande Dame and you got Giselle. I mean, I love them. But let me also give a little props to all the AI cherry blossom scenes each time. Oh, and also we got the taglines this episode for the girls. and some of the best taglines I've heard in a while. I enjoyed the taglines a lot. So I'm enjoying this season. There's not a lot going on right now. Mia, well, there's a lot going on with Mia. I'm glad her and Jacqueline are back together. But Jacqueline did drop a little interesting little crumb there. You know, there's a lot going on with Gordon, Mia, and now her beau, Ink, her man. But Ink is giving me uh, a little shady vibe. Personal opinion. Okay. He might be lovely. He might actually step up to the plate. I don't know. But just the way the whole thing's going down, it seems a little off to me. Look, there was something interesting between the relationship with Mia and Gordon. They obviously, at the end of the day, even with their splitting up, they seem to still rely on each other and support each other when they need it. I don't mean to judge, but I don't know. And I'm going to say there's Jacqueline. Like I said, she dropped a little crumb earlier when she said, well, when they broke up, you know, he was calling me, asking me, you want to go out? Men are men, but that's a little too close to home. Again, men are men, but you know, and he wants to be a radio personality, and now suddenly getting out on the Housewives. Is that more of an opportunity for him? I'm sure. I'm not saying that that's why he's around. Mia and Ink have had a history for a very long time. Like they did it in high school. So, I mean, they go way back, and I understand there's comfort in familiarity, but it's a mess. There's no other way to decide it. Mia's situation with Ink and Gordon, it's a mess, and I do feel bad for the kids, but those kids are the cutest, adorable kids, and they're so sweet, and they seem to be happy. And you know, let Mia figure it out. It has got to be such a mind mess for her to go through all this right now and do it on TV and still throw out the shade and have all those women coming after her. That's a lot. It's a lot. So let's give her a little step back. Oh, just hit my mic. So, you know, poor Mia. Mia. But I am glad Jacqueline's back. And let's just say, so I want to jump to the end of the show. There was a nice little afternoon lunch situation, and you got to see a little bit of Stacey kind of crack a little bit. And Giselle doesn't really know her well. So Giselle, first of all, apologized for being, you know, rude at the event that she'd had the day before, or the episode before. You know, she kicked him out because they showed up late, and she apologized. She's like, I want to say I was not mad at you. I was more mad at Karen. So that's kind of where that falls. I'm upset about that. But she starts asking Stacey, so what's going on? You're divorced. And Stacey starts talking a little bit about her divorce. And Giselle said, well, you seem a little upset about it. You are? And Ashley, who I kind of thought was like kind of helping her out because you could see she was a little bit uncomfortable about it, was like, well, no, she's moved on. She has a friend. And Giselle said, oh, okay, because Giselle's gone through divorce herself, and the dad's still very much a part of the children's lives, so she's still dealing with all of Jamal stuff, and Jamal stuff's messy. So you could see Stacey getting a little uncomfortable about it, and like I said, I just thought Ashley was fine about it. She's like, well, she's moved on. She's got a friend, just to kind of move the conversation along. And Stacey just started getting very upset about it. Like, you're all up in my business. You're just putting it out there. And I thought it was a pretty general conversation. But who knew? So we saw a little crack in Stacey this past episode. And I kind of liked it. So I'm waiting for more to come out, because I definitely, and Ashley said it well in the previous episode. She's kind of got that on camera TV personality at all times, and the voice. And you don't really want to see you break your character on TV, right? And on television. So you saw a crack, and I'm just waiting for it. Now that you got one crack, I'm just starting to wait for it to splinter, and you'll see all the other fractures starting to happen. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So okay. Okay. Let's move on to, we also have Low Deck Sailing Yacht is on, and that's so far so good. We do not have Colin this season, but we'll get into Below Deck Sailing Yacht another day. Too many other things to get on. So let's get into OC, the Real Housewives of Orange County. They are still in London. Tamra's still ganging up on poor Shannon. I mean, this poor girl can't catch a break. Thank God her daughters were there to have her back this episode. Her daughters were in Paris. They came to visit her and had lunch for her 60th birthday. And she needed that. She needed to step away from those women for a minute. And I mean, they were awful. And I'm going to say, I've said it pretty much every episode of the season, I cannot stand Tamra Judge this season. I cannot stand Tamra Judge. I think she's awful. I think she's vile. I think she's nasty. I think she brings the whole cast down with her negativity and her just raunchiness. Really, really, there's a foulness to her that really bothers me. And again, Bravo. Why did you bring back Tamra and not Vicky? Why? Vicky is the OG of the OC. I love Vicky. Vicky's there. Now, Vicky causes great drama, and Vicky can bring it. But she's also a girl's girl when needed, right? Like, she is there for Shannon. And honestly, I think Vicky should have gone on the London trip. I don't know what went on behind the scenes with Vicky and the cast of Bravo and the crew of Bravo. I don't know. I don't know if that was something that kind of had her put on pause, but I'm very frustrated that Vicky wasn't brought back and Tamra was, because I think she has been an absolute anchor to the show. And to see how absolutely vile she was this past episode at the dinner they had in London, she was just gross. Like, shut up, you're disgusting, you're drunk. She was so hateful. It really, really bothered me. And Heather, how can you defend that? How can you defend that? And I was starting to like Heather just a hair this season. And then this past episode, you fell back. You fell back, Heather, because you're sticking up for Tamra, I think, when you shouldn't. And you're going after Shannon in a passive aggressive but slightly malicious way, I think. I don't like it. I'm glad that Jen has finally found her voice, and she freaked out on Tamra about the whole, background checkup. I think Emily is really just trying to enjoy the trip. She really is. And Gina too. Gina's kind of coming up a little bit. They're trying to join the trip, but you can really see Emily trying to bridge the gap. She really is, between Tamra and Shannon. She's like, how do we move forward? How do we get there? But I think everyone is seeing how absolutely despicable Tamra has been. And Bravo, Tamra's got to go. It is time to go for Tamra. She's got to go. She's really, in the fact that they revamped RHONY, the Real Housewives of New York, for, I'm just going to say, a few similar situations where some of the cast have been around for a while and they were really kind of negative, and the cast didn't really get along very well. And a lot of other things were why the cast was completely revamped at RHONY. And I'll get on RHONY in another minute there. They do need to revamp OC, I think. But Tamra was not the way to do it. So I was really upset this episode. I was pissed. And then poor Gene is trying to really help out Shannon, and then find out that Shannon was doing a background check on Gina. Let's see how that plays out in the next few episodes. But, Gina, you're not innocent either. You're kind of an asshole too at times. So, I mean, but it was a fair statement when Shannon was like, this is not who we are. And Gina's like, no, this is exactly who we are. And she's right. That is exactly who you are. It's just dirty, shady, and just spiteful to one another. It's unfortunate. It is. Now, so before I go to Salt Lake City, let me just jump to the Real Housewives of New York. I haven't been into it. Everybody keeps telling me I need to watch it. So I watched it. And they're cute, I guess. But when you have had seasons before, when you have the Countess, and then you have Lady Morgan, who those two, the dynamic duo of those two, Lady Morgan and the Countess, I mean, do you get better than that? And we all saw Crappy Lake, which is a fantastic show. I hope they do another spinoff of some way, somehow. But you should have kept them. You could have gotten rid of everyone else. Really. You could have really gotten rid of everyone else. But you needed to keep them. There was something like I feel like you had to have like at least one root still in the ground for that franchise. And I've tried to watch the new Roni. I find them as boring as they can come. I watched this past episode, and the only thing that I found was interesting is that after they planted the fake roaches in the food, how the two girls were vomiting. That's it. That's it. And that was literally like the last 2 minutes of the show. That's it. Boring, boring, boring. That's all I'm going to say. Now, Salt Lake City this week. I have to brace myself because I enjoyed Salt Lake City so much this week. It was beyond. It was extra. It was beyond. It was great. So, okay. The theme was the mob party, the mob anniversary party, which Angie K, I am thoroughly enjoying you this season, even with your staccato, raspy, cadence of your speech. I am finding you fascinating. I am finding you funny. I even enjoy your props and your everything that you bring. And I like your husband, Sean. He is so cute. And your daughter, Electra's gorgeous. Very sweet. I adore your family. Your dad this episode. Oh my God. Did he call Sean a honey love in his speech to you at your own anniversary party? Your dad is adorable. And the fact that he raised all those kids on his own after your mom passed away, that story never gets old. That man is a champion. He is a hero and a legend. That's a ton of kids to do on your own. Oh my God. But so Angie K had her 25th anniversary wedding party, and to celebrate it, the theme was mob wives, which I found to be funny. Who was it? Was it Meredith? Who was like, I don't really understand the relationship, but I thought it was funny because people had referred to her ties to the mob in the previous season. So I thought it was funny. And who doesn't like dressing up like that, right? You don't have to ask me twice. I have no problem putting on a mob wife theme outfit. It's fantastic. You can go over the top. You can get the big chunky jewelry. You can go furs. You can go late. You can go in any direction as long as it gives off that feel. I think it's so fun. So I loved it. I thought the party was fantastic. So much drama in this episode. I caught myself because my house was quite quiet. A lot of people went to bed early that night, and I watched it late. And I was like, oh no, during the episode, because it was just jam-packed. How many fights? Let's just start it from the top, and I'm just rolling it off my head there. So all the people were coming in. First of all, they had to do a little roll back of a little storyline between Meredith and Angie K's husband, Sean. because of the stories from the past. Let's talk about her husband. So good still. She brought up a lot of drama and a lot of tension with, just basically telling stories and lies about Angie K's relationship, her marriage. And no question that probably caused stress and fighting and just unnecessary chaos in their life. So he had said, was it last season or I think it was last season, I don't want to deal with her. She's been disrespectful to me, to my family, spreading these rumors, and I don't ever want her in my home. So they show the scene where, but he even said, if it is important to you and you want to invite her, I may not like it, but I understand and I'll support it, which was very sweet. Sean, very, very sweet. And Angie said, I don't want to leave anyone out. So she did invite Meredith. So when she walked into the house, Sean graciously greeted her. What an upstanding gentleman. He really, really was. And like I said, when the dad, Angie K's dad called him a honey love, I was like, oh my God, that's the cutest thing I ever heard. And he does seem like a little honey love. I thought that was very gracious and very kind and high road for sure. But when you saw everybody coming in, you saw, Whitney and her husband, you saw, who was it? Bronwyn. You were fantastic this episode as well. A little messy. Last week, you really got a lot of her family heartfelt story with her and her daughter, and it was very touching. It was raw emotion. It really was. So coming out of that, and she said, as I'm hanging out with these girls, I'm seeing so many different sides, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Heather, which is exactly what Miss Mary has been saying. And I still can't believe I'm saying this. Mary Cosby is the shining star this season. She really is. She is so good. She's still Mary, a little out there, a little slightly eccentric, a little cuckoo. But man, she is fantastic. She's great. She's been saying that. She even said it last week when they were ziplining. She's like, Heather, she said it right to her face, which is respect. She said, Heather, you leave a trail of lies and it bothers me. You're messy. It's obvious. And I don't like it. I see what you're doing and I don't like it. And she said it straight to her face. Good for you. So when Mary and Bronwyn met up at Mary's house, which was an interesting scene and, heartfelt. I find it so funny that they become such close friends and fantastic. I love this new Bronwyn, Angie, Mary trio. I think that might be a new showstopper right there. You take those three. They're just fun. And, she said, she brought up to Mary, she was telling Mary their personal story. But it was such an interesting scene when she walked in. She's like, oh my God, Mary, I love your house, which is the first person who's ever said that. And then you flash back to scenes of Bronwyn's house. Very eclectic, very wild, colorful, vibrant, style for sure. High end, couture, super expensive, luxe, all that. But whoa, it really does look like somebody was tripping when they were putting that all together. There's some psychedelic was definitely involved in that design, in my opinion. But the fact that they both love each other's style says it all. They're going to be good friends. But they had, they shared some personal story, how Bronwyn's daughter has no contact with the family. And Mary has had a similar story because Mary talks about that she has no relationship with her mother and her mother's never met Robert Jr. So it was interesting that they have those similarities. And, that's heavy. And, when you can confide in somebody else that has a similar story with that, I find like that can be an instant connection. And I think that not only will their love of fashion and design unite them, I think a lot of their family dynamic will as well. And I really like those two together. But both of them, Mary and Ron, were talking about how messy Heather's being. So you got Angie, Mary, Bronwyn, all three noticed how Heather's been messy. And I have to say, I really haven't enjoyed Heather this season at all. At all. I think she's trying to play both sides of the fence. She's dropping these bombs of hearsay and just gossip and BS and just running it through the mill throughout the group. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I find Lisa in a really tough position because she sees, I mean, I think honestly, you can say what you want about Lisa Barlow. I've always said, I really like Lisa Barlow. I'm a Lisa fan. I like John. He's just really supportive of her. And I think her sons are just adorable. So leave her alone. Leave my Lisa Barlow alone. Lisa, if you're listening, I'm your girl. But she's trying to, and she even said, she's like, I have 5 sisters. I'm trying to see all sides from a woman, and I want to comfort those when I see that they're hurt. I want to defend those when I see it's wrong, and I respect that. But it does put her in a precarious situation because I feel like she's stomping out everybody's fire, and then everybody's going to come after her. So, which has happened before in the past. So please be careful and cautious, Lisa, because they will come for you. And that I'll get to that at the end of this last episode because this episode was so good. So you've got that. So good old sweet Mary. So Bronwyn was telling Angie K that Heather was talking about her. So Mary was actually bringing that up to Heather and another little tiff. Mary straight up called Heather out again for her BS. And Lisa was there and she was like, and you're defending Heather, and I don't think she could. And Lisa even said, I think she was emotionally hurt in that moment. I wasn't defending what she was doing. I was just defending that she was telling you those comments had hurt her. And I wanted you to hear that she was hurt. And that was the point that I was trying to get across, that she was just hurt by those comments. And again, Lisa, careful girl. So they got into it, but Mary called her straight out. She's like, I don't like it. I'm going to tell you how it is. I think this is so good on you, Mary. But the scene after that was so funny. You see Mary Cosby sitting down on this couch with these 2 young girls. And she's like, whoo, that was a big fight. And the one little girl goes, what happened? Out of concern. And Mary's like, girls, fighting with girls, just fighting with girls. It's a mess. My feet are swollen. My feet hurt. And the expression on the 2 little girls on the couch, priceless. First of all, they didn't know what to say. They really didn't know how to react because they knew they were on camera. This older woman's getting up, coming over to them talking about a girl fight. And they're just kind of like shell shocked by the whole thing. Like they don't know what to do. They don't. So funny. That scene, I was laughing out loud with because I was like, oh my God, those poor girls. When somebody had to sign a release form for that, they didn't know that Mary Cosby was coming in with that. But hey, if you're going to do it with a pretty girl with great fashion. And again, Mary Cosby is the scene stealer this season. Gosh, I can't spit it out. So there was that fight. Fight number 1. Then you had Bronwyn and Angie K going with Heather. Boom. Fight number 2. Then you had this whole situation with Brittany. Okay. Brittany, who is a hot mess. This girl just monkey bars from one guy to the next guy. She broke up with Jared. She brought this guy named Aaron, who I gotta say, Mary's a little right. Does look a lot like that Jared Osmond guy. And I'm just going to say it again. That Jared Osmond guy looks so douchey, especially in that tight shirt that he had on last week with the chunky jewelry and, oh God, attempted at a man flex. I don't know what it is. Gross. Just gross. But Whitney's husband, Justin, invited Jared Osman, that guy that she was having that on again, off again relationship, and he was just gross and just obviously using her, and he just seems like, ugh. Oh, he's so into himself. I just can't. I give this guy nothing. He's so attention hungry and so narcissistic, is what you already get from the few scenes that you've seen from this man. And Justin calls him up and says, hey, we're here at this party. Why don't you stop over? And he does. I mean, boom, he was right there. And fun fact, if you watch the after show, which I didn't intentionally mean to watch the after show, I was watching Peacock and it just came on. And somebody said that guy Jared lives like an hour away from there. So they're like, he was literally there within an hour. So was he just like dressed and ready to go and camera ready? Because he was there, he arrived so quickly, the time was a little off. But he showed up and immediately that girl, Brittany, starts crying. Really? You're going to give that guy your tears when he gave you barely anything at all? Ugh. So they go out and talk, and she's like, why are you here? And the cheesiest, slimiest line, I heard the charcuterie board was nice. That guy, gross, just gross. And so they talk, and she's like, I love you. I mean, this girl is a mess. As she's still there with another guy. And it was just so funny when Jared walked in the house. You see Mary Cosby go, okay, I see it now, because she kept confusing the new date, Aaron, with the former guy she was dating, Jared. So that was really funny. And then Mary starts questioning the date, Aaron. So how long have you been dating? He's about a month. Really? Because she knows because Mary knows that she's been dating the other guy, Jared, for a while. It's just a mess. And she is... No, look, I'm not trying to judge family, but having somebody as kind of chaotic like that, I can understand where there's turmoil in her family. I'm not saying anything, but I can understand how there's turmoil in the family, because that's just craziness. So then you had the whole Jared fiasco, but it was funny, everybody's reaction when he walked in and was like, oh my God, like the room stopped. So that was really funny. And mainly, you barely have been in the show, but this was at least a really good scene for you. You were a girl's girl. You were there to comfort your friends, and you had one of the best reactions of all when you walked in, like, oh my God. So that was a good scene for you this episode. So then you had the whole Jared thing. And then let's get to the end. So Whitney has been holding this nugget. Whitney thinks that she has, found the key to the treasure of who, put it out in the media that her brand was from Alibaba. Who was it? So she was connected by a friend, a podcaster, had said, which, by the way, really cryptic message. So I was speaking to somebody who was affiliated with this account that said that your jewelry is from Alibaba. And this person wouldn't directly say who it was, but would answer clues. And, first of all, that alone should really discredit the source, but they're not going to come out and be like, I know for a fact, this is what it is. So the guy was asking him, the source, does this person have, jewelry line? No. Does this person have this type of business? No. Does this person have a liquor business? No. Yes. So she's like, it's Lisa. So she thinks that she's got all this ammo against Lisa Barlow coming after her jewelry business, right? So she's just been holding on to it. And she even had lunch with Meredith early in the episode. And she's like, I know who it is, Meredith, and I owe you an apology. And Meredith's like, well, who do you think it is? She's like, it's Lisa. And she's like, do you know for a fact? Like, when Meredith's reaction immediately sparked in my mind, like, oh, she either knows exactly who it is, or she knows something about it, and she knows it's not Lisa. because her reaction, because she kept reiterating to Whitney, are you sure you're getting accurate information? Are you sure that it's 100% true? Because you don't want to go down this road and find out you had bad information. And I mean, that's a straight shot warning. And so to me, I was like, she knows something. And Meredith even said to somebody, I know, or was it in a confessional, the person who contacted Whitney also reached out to me. And I didn't find the source accurate or credible. And I didn't find any of that information. I didn't take any of that information to heart. I didn't trust it. And what the information they gave me is completely different from what they're telling her. So she's getting played. So poor Whitney, who thinks she's got something, goes up to Lisa Barlow and says, I know, I'm going to paraphrase. I know somebody told me that it was you that was putting it out there about my business and my business, my brand, nah, 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 nah. And Lisa's like, it's not me. Don't go down this road with me again, Whitney. It's not me. And Lisa's automatically getting heated, and she should, because everybody's coming after her this season, just like she did at the whole Harley Davidson dinner in Milwaukee. And she's like, it's not me. Stop saying that. It's not me. And she's like, I got to tell you, Whitney, every time I think we're in a better place and we're friends, you screw up. You screw it up. And here you are again. You're screwing up. You think it's me. You're getting bad information. It's not me. And Whitney wouldn't hear it. She's like, well, I think it is you. And I believe him so much, in so many ways. That's what she said. So Lisa gets up her phone and starts calling her cybersecurity guy, right? She's like, I want you to go all the way on this. I want you to contact the police. This is defamation of character. They're going after, this is, she's going through her list of of her grievances, and she should. It's bullshit. And Whitney's just sitting there like, blink, 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 all wide-eyed. And she's like, and I want you to know, not only am I going to sue them, probably sue you, and I'm going to send you a bill. And you could just see Whitney's eyes like, oh God. And then Lisa, in the heat of the moment, walks over to Whitney's husband, Justin, who's talking to Lisa's husband, John. And remember, John is so quiet. And Lisa basically goes up to Justin. She's like, I don't know how you can sleep with her, because this woman's a liar with all the lies that she put out. And Justin starts getting heated. Like, she's not a liar. She's not a liar. She's not a liar. And you can see like there was a lot of pent up frustration there with Justin. Not only is it maybe the Lisa stuff that's going on this season, but remember there's been some major issues with Justin and Whitney and his job and been some stuff in the past. And I think that's just, dormant inside, because he really exploded quite quickly. And just the whole Lisa thing, it doesn't seem right. And so she goes over to Justin. She's like, I don't know how you can do that, how you can be with her, because all she does is lie, and all she does is spread rumors. She's a liar. She's this and that. And Justin's like, she's not a liar. She's not a liar. She's not a liar. She's not a liar. And he starts getting really heated. And then John's like, whoa, 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 calm down. That's all you can hear John say. Whoa, 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 calm down. And Justin turns around. He's like, don't you tell him to calm down. He starts going after calm, sweet John. And John's like, you don't say that about my wife. And I was like, John, Johnny boy, I like the way that you're sticking up for Lisa. And boom, that's where they cut off. That's where it ended. John was defending his wife, Lisa. Justin was defending Whitney. Whitney actually went over and was trying to break it up. She's like, Justin, stop. And Whitney and Justin were kind of the shit stirrers the entire episode. Justin invited that gross Osmond guy with the jewelry. And I don't have an issue with jewelry on any man. I actually really like jewelry on men, but just, you know what I mean? When you see a gross, juicy cheesemo guy, That's the jewelry. Um, it was such a good episode. I mean, like, and I'm telling you, Lisa, I mean, Angie K, if this is what's going to happen at your event, please have more. Please have more. And please give me more Angie K, Bronwyn, and Mary Cosby. I mean, and we have seen more personality of Mary than we did all the other seasons. And I am loving. Maybe I think her church has closed. Maybe that's what it is. She's got a little bit more time. I am enjoying her. This episode was so good. So Mob Wives, I think it was at episode 3, and loved it. Loved it. Well done, girls. Well done. Whitney, if there's a revamping of the show, who's going to go? Is it going to be Meredith? Because I don't think Meredith's bringing a lot. She didn't bring a lot last season, other than my husband. My favorite line, probably one of them ever. Is it going to be Heather? Because Heather's given me a lot of Tamra Judge feel this season. She's messy. It's real. It's hateful. Or is it going to be Whitney? Whitney's at least bringing some drama. Like, she at least brought the fight. So I think maybe Whitney's safe. Is it going to be Meredith? Is it going to be Heather? Are they all going to stay? Who knows? But I'm loving the trio. The trio. They're great. Go Bronwyn. Go Angie K. Go Mary Cosby. So that's a little recap on Bravo this week. We'll have so much more to join next time. I can't thank you enough for being here. So as we're wrapping up today, I think it's only fair and only right that we wrap with the sweet wisdom of Miss Elizabeth Francis. Live every day like you're truly living is one of the other things I had heard her say. And speak your mind. Don't hold your tongue. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Please follow us on Polywine Time on the gram. You can find us on YouTube, find us on Spotify, anywhere you get your feed. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye.